this is going to be a Matthew chapter 1 generation review. So, really, it's going to be a study of this chapter and any connecting, other chapters and verses, which is going to basically give us the biblical understanding of this without any conjecture and religious doctrine, any camp doctrine, etc. It's going to be raw, just what the book says regarding these generations. So let's just jump right into it. All right. So we're going to use verse 17 as a roadmap. Matthew 1 and 17. It says, so all the generations from, key in on this, from Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from David unto the carrying away into Babel are 14 generations. And from the carrying away into Babylon into Mashiach are 14 generations. So it's a even 14, 14, 14. This is why I'm using this as a roadmap. So verse 1 through 16, we're going to see 42 generations revealed based upon verse 17. So I try to do things color coordinated as usual. Here it is, the blue is going to represent from Abraham to David. The pink is going to represent from David to Babylon, and the green to be from Babylon to Christ. Again, 14, 14, 14. Let's just go in and get started with this. We have to actually do this because, for one, you can't be lazy when you want actual understanding. I know y'all want to do the quick, loud voice, Negroes screaming, your pastor emotional, dancing. There's no wisdom in none of that. I don't do breakdowns. I'm sorry. I don't do doctrines. I don't. This is strictly going to be out of the book. So in getting started, we're going to analyze straight out of the book, Abraham to David. Starting at verse 1, it says, the Sefer of the generation of Yahushua HaMashiach, the son of David. But the key thing here is the generation of Yahushua HaMashiach, letting us know what we're getting into. So verse 2, Abraham begot Isaac. So Abraham would be number 1, Isaac would be number 2. And Isaac begot Jacob. Jacob would be number 3. And Jacob begot Yehuda and his brethren. Yehuda would be number 4. Transitioning to verse 3, Yehuda begot Perez and Zerach of Tamar. So Perez would be number 5, and Perez begot Kezron, who would be number 6. Kezron begot Aram, who would be number 7. Verse 4, and Aram begot Aminadab, who would be number 8. And Aminadab begot Naxon, who would be number 9. Naxon begot Salmah, number 10, transitioning to verse 5. Salmah begot Boaz of Rekav, so Boaz would be number 11. And Boaz begot Oved of Ruth. Oved would be number 12. We know about that story, right? Ruth has her own book dedicated to her. And Oved begot Yeshai, who would be number 13. And Yeshai begot David the king, solidifying that King David is the 14th generation from Abraham. So Abraham to David is 14 generations. Let's look at now David to Babylon. We're going to go back to that same verse, number 6. We're not going to count King David as number 1. Why? Because he's number 14. That would be literally double counting, which is like Christian math or something, okay? So, and David the king begot Solomon. So this would be number 1 with the pink, of her that had been the woman of Uriah. We know about that story too. So transitioning to verse 7. Solomon begot Rehoboam, who would be number 2. Rehoboam begot Avihu, number 3. Avihu begot Akah, number 4. Verse 8. And Akab begot Yehoshaphat, number 5. Yehoshaphat begot Yoram, who would be number 6. And Yoram begot Uzziyahu, number 7. Transitioning to verse 9. Uzziyahu begot Yatham, number 8. And Yatham begot Akaz, number 9. And Akaz begot Yekizyahu, number 10. Verse 10. And Yekizyahu begot Manasseh, number 11. And Manasseh begot Ammon, number 12. And Ammon begot Yoshiyahu, number 13. Transitioning to verse 11. And Yoshiyahu begot Yekanyahu, number 14, and his brethren about the time they were carried to Babylon. Boom. So this is accurate. From David to Babylon, 14 generations. Now let's analyze Babylon to Christ, because this is where the discrepancy comes in. We're going to go back to verse 11, carried away to Babylon. Verse 12. And after they were brought to Babylon, keyword after they were brought to Babylon, Yekanyahu, number 14, we're not going to count again as number 1, because he's number 14, just like with David, King David. We don't count King David twice. All right, so he begot Shealtiel, who would be number 1. And then he begot Zerubbabel, number 2. Verse 13. And Zerubbabel begot Avihud, and it was number 3. And Avihud begot Eliakim, number 4. And Eliakim begot Azur, number 5. Verse 14. And Azur begot Zadok, number 6. And Zadok begot Yakim, number 7. And Yakim begot El-Ail, number 8. Verse 15. And El-Ail begot Eleazar, number 9. And Eleazar begot Mathan, number 10. Here we go. And Mathan begot Jacob, number 11. So Jacob is number 11 as we go transition to verse 16. This is where it gets interesting, okay? Jacob, number 11, begot Joseph. So Jacob begot Joseph, who's number 12. Joseph, the father of Mary. Mary's generated, so she's number 13, of whom was born Yahushua, who was called Mashiach. Mashiach would then be number 14. This solidifies 14, 14, 14 from verse 17. If you've been following along with your Bibles, which I hope you are, you would say, hey, you said Joseph is the father of Mary. Right, because I read that. You see, you guys are using the KJV and it would say Joseph, the husband of Mary. I'm not using the KJV. Let that marinate. I'm citing my sources. So Joseph, the father of Mary, in the version that I'm citing, is actually correct. You get contradiction when you use the KJV, which is going to look like this. And Jacob, number 11, begot Joseph, who's number 12, the husband of Mary, keyword husband, again, KJV, of whom was born, so-called Jesus, who was called Christ. Christ would be number 13 in the KJV. So this is where you have an error in the KJV. KJV would look like this: 14, 14, 13 instead of 14, 14, 14, as it states in verse 17. So in the KJV, either verse 16 is wrong or verse 17 is wrong. See, this is why I had to count from the beginning so it can be seen as a witness. Nothing was skipped, nothing was added, because people love to say that when the doctrine and the breakdown that they've been taught by their pastor or camp member is actually wrong. Because numbers don't lie, they will lie. In the KJV, husband is actually causing a lot of issues because this word husband is a mistranslated Greek word, aner. You see, the thing with the word aner is that it could mean just a man. The thing is, a man can be a father or a husband, etc. As a matter of fact, it's used more times as a father than it does a husband. You have to be careful. This is how you can easily mistranslate this word to be husband in Matthew chapter 1 when it's actually father. I don't like to home in on lexicons and concordances because they get misused and doctrines get created from them. But I'm only showing it so that it can be shown that it could, in this context, it can mean multiple things. So let's move forward. So now, this established, 14, 14, 14, 42 generations, there's a doctrine which suggests that it has to, for some reason, it has to all be males. I'm going to touch on that. But before I do, I'm going to home in on the significance that Mary is the 13th generation from Babylon to Christ. I'm going to home in on this for a second. Okay, so the significance starts here. Isaiah 7:14 says, therefore Adonai himself shall give you a sign. Behold, this is the sign, y'all. A virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth an infant son whose name is called Emmanuel. Very simple, clear, and to the point. You see, Mary will be the one to come in and fill this prophecy as we go back to the chapter that we were at. Matthew chapter 1, but verse 23 says, behold, a virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call the name of the same Emmanuel. It's a clear top and bottom comparison. Okay? Prophecy coming to pass. So yeah, doctrines are doctrines. The thing is, prophecy is still prophecy. So if a prophecy says that, well, not just prophecy, but, human biology, if all of this is saying that a female is going to bring forth this 14th generation, why is it that only men have to exist in Matthew chapter 1? See, females are also generated. Doesn't matter what the doctrine is, doesn't matter how emotional the breakdown was. What's written in the book supersedes all of that. Nobody is saying that Mary's creating this hypothetical female lineage. What's said is said. A female is going to do this. This has nothing to do. You have to literally change the argument. Nobody's first of all, nobody's arguing. It's just that the position is that this female is going to bring forth this child. This female is a part of a lineage as the 13th generation. She didn't just pop out of thin air. If you believe that a male can somehow bring forth this male child in the world, or any male can bring forth any male child in the world, explain it to me in the comments. I would love to see how this is possible. This quote unquote virgin, which is not what this is not what Christians have created it to be, this magical conception. Okay. I'll touch on that real quick. So with this virgin, let's get some understanding on the culture that we're reading about. So 1 Corinthians 7:34. There is a difference also between a woman and a virgin. Let's see what that difference is. It says the unmarried woman cares for the things of Yah, that she may be holy both in body and rawak. This is the unmarried woman. But she that is married cares for the things of the world, how she may please her man. The contrast is that a virgin is simply just, the unmarried woman. As we go back with our top and bottom comparison, that's the understanding and significance on the point of Mary being generated. Mary was generated because she had to bring forth that child, number 14. You see, the doctrine that this has to all be males is based upon, honestly, when you flash forward back to, the Genesis, men creating men, yes, those men are being generated. We know that we are also the seed of our fathers, but this doesn't dissolve away the fact that females are also generated. And that in this case, there was one female that was generated. She was Mary, number 13. I'm going to show you now that this has always been the case, that females were generated. They didn't just drop out of the sky. Here's some examples. Genesis 32:28. I'm starting here. And he said, your name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. Why am I showing this? I'm just simply showing that Jacob's name was changed to Israel because we're going to be reading about Israel. I want you to see that this is Jacob. It's the same person, all right? Genesis 34:1. Again, top and bottom comparison. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bore unto Jacob. You see, why am I showing you this? Dinah is the daughter of Leah and Jacob. Jacob is her father, but Jacob is essentially the first Israelite. From Jacob, aka Israel, you get Israelites. Dinah is an Israelite, but she's a female. She was generated the old-fashioned way, got a mama and a daddy, but she's a female. She's still a generation. I know this goes against the camp doctrine, but I don't care about the camp doctrine. I don't care about breakdowns. This is not a breakdown. This is straight out of the book. Females don't just magically appear. They are generated just like the males. I have another comparison. Matthew 1:16, where we were at. Now we're comparing Genesis 34:1, the fact that Dinah was created. She's an Israelite, no different from Mary being created the same old-fashioned way. Mary is generation number 13. Mary was generated just like Dinah was generated. Again, there's doctrine, there's breakdowns. This is just straight Bible. All right. So at this point, we're going to do a cross examination of Matthew 1 and Luke 3. So let's go to Matthew 1:6. We've read this already. Okay. And Yeshai begat David the king, and David the king begot Solomon. That's it in relevant parts. So basically what we just read would look something like this. Yeshai, King David, Solomon. Very kindergarten, very clear. Now, this is Luke 3, starting at verse 31, which was the son of Meleah, which was the son of Menon, which is the son of Mattithiah, which was the son of, keyword, Nathan, which is the son of David, which was the son of Yeshai. Why am I showing this? I'm doing the same thing. Luke chapter 3 is showing this. Yeshai, King David, Nathan. Now we're going to compare both side by side. This is a cross-examination, Matthew 1 and Luke 3. You see the similarity and the difference. You see, Yeshai begot King David, but then the lineages split apart. Luke 3 is Nathan's lineage. Matthew 1 is Solomon's lineage. These two men are brothers. Two brothers cannot have the same damn children. Why am I saying this? Because I'm going to say maybe in some religions, there might be a religious doctrine, but there's definitely camp doctrines where they're suggesting that both of these lineages are the same.
You made a point to bring out the lineages. Both of those lineages are Joseph's lineage. There is no getting around to that. So now, why is it a generational lineage in Matthew's and a literal lineage in Luke? You messed up when you said that Luke's lineage is Joseph's, because it has to be Joseph's. That's why every time you see Joseph, say again.
He married.
Wait, Luke's?
He tried saying Luke was married.
No, I think he said Matthew's was Mary's.
Oh, he switched.
He said Luke's was Joseph's, Matthew's was Mary's.
That's new.
Yeah, that's new as shit.
The problem with that is that you would have to believe in magic.
When you believe in magic.
The thing with this, put yourself in Solomon and Nathan's shoes. If you have a sibling, how in the hell could your siblings' children also be your children? But this is what a lot of camps teach. It is impossible for two men that are brothers to have the same damn children, letting us know that the Luke 3 lineage is completely different after King David. Key thing, after King David, they are completely damn different. Prior to King David, they are identical. So, Mary, again, going to touch back on Mary. Mary is the seed of Solomon, the seed of David, whereas Joseph is the seed of Nathan, the seed of David. Again, Christ is the seed of David. There's two different Josephs. One Joseph is the son of Solomon, Mary's father. The other Joseph is the son of Nathan, Solomon's brother. You can't have one Joseph be the son of two men that are brothers. That is just biologically impossible. Christ is the product of Mary and Joseph, as was supposed. Here we go, y'all. There's another doctrine where, I'm going to use the word biological. There's been a lot of back and forth on the, questioning if, Joseph, the son of Nathan. Notice how I'm doing that. Joseph, the son of Nathan, is the biological father of Christ. That's a topic attached to this, so we're going to analyze it. We're going to start at Luke 3:23. And Yahushua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Eli. Then it goes all the way up, okay? This as was supposed is injecting doubt. There's a doctrine which was derived from a video which really attempts to make this as was supposed, go all over the place. That's done a lot of damage, okay? Here it is.
And Yahushua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph. So a lot of people use this verse to try and prove that Joseph was not the biological father of Christ because of the words, as was supposed. But this verse actually proves that Joseph was the biological father of Christ. See, if you read this verse already believing in the virgin birth, you'll miss the point that this verse is making. You'll think that Luke is saying that Christ was not the biological son of Joseph. Everybody just thought he was. But Luke is actually telling us that Christ was the biological son of Joseph, just like everybody thought he was. Watch. It says, and Yahushua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, meaning he was, as was supposed, as people thought, the son of Joseph. He was, as people thought, the son of Joseph. That's what it's saying. But people can't see that because they already have the virgin birth in their mind. So let's break this verse down completely and see what it's actually saying. Before we get to as was supposed, let's deal with this word being. This word is very important, and it was used in this verse for a reason. Let me show you. Ephesians 2:20, it says, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua himself being the chief cornerstone. Now, what does it mean, being the chief cornerstone? It means he was the chief cornerstone. Being means he was. That's simple, right? Look at this. John 11:49. It says, and one of them named Caiaphas being the high priest. What does it mean, being the high priest? Again, it means he was the high priest. Being something means that you are that particular thing. That's why the word being in Luke 3:23 is there, because it establishes that he was, as people thought, the son of Joseph. Now, just in case somebody thinks that you can't replace the word being with he was, look at this. This is the word being from Luke 3:23. It's the Greek word an, and it's number 5607. Again, number 5607. Now watch this. This is Acts 7:2 with the concordance number showing. It says, and he said, men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The Most High of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia. Now, what's the number there for the words he was? It's number 5607. The same number for the word being. Why? Because the word being and he was is the same thing in the Greek. So let's read Luke 3:23 again. It says, and Yahushua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, meaning he was, as was supposed, as people thought, the son of Joseph. This verse is telling you that Christ was the biological son of Joseph. The reason as was supposed is in this verse is to prove that Joseph was his father.
Now that was absolutely, again, there's breakdowns, there's doctrines, but then there's Bible. We're going to pick back up where we left off. We went from verse 1 through verse 17. We're going to start at verse 18 now and dealing with this as was supposed. Now the birth of Yahushua HaMashiach was on the wise. Who are the people mentioned thus far? Yahushua HaMashiach. This is his birth. There's only one person being mentioned who hasn't even been born yet because it's on the wise. when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph. Now we see two other people being introduced. Those two other people are Mary and Joseph. So there's three people. You have Christ, Mary, Joseph. So far, verse 18, there's only three people being mentioned. Father, mother, and son. Before they came together, they who? Who's the they here? Was the only damn people mentioned in verse 18. Mary and Joseph. Before Mary and Joseph, the only damn they here, before they came together, this before they came together has been diabolically screwed up. And here's how.
Matthew 1 and 18 has the phrase, before they came together. And people say that's talking about sex. But the phrase came together is in the Bible 9 other times. You see it on the screen. And none of these verses are talking about sex. Look at this. Matthew 27 and 62. It says, now the next day that followed the day of preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate. So we see that the words came together in this verse is referring to the chief priests and the Pharisees gathering together in one place. Now I'm going to run through the rest of these verses so that you can see that the Bible does not use the words came together as a reference to sex. I'm going to read the highlighted portion of each verse. Here we go. Mark 6 and 33. And out went them and came together unto him. Mark 7 and 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees. Luke 5 and 15. And great multitudes came together to hear. Luke 22 and 66. The chief priests and the scribes came together. Luke 23 and 48. And all the people that came together. Acts 2 and 6. The multitude came together. Acts 15 and 6. And the apostles and elders came together. Acts 20 and 7. When the disciples came together to break bread. So as you can see, none of these verses are talking about sex. The words came together in every case is used to describe people gathering or assembling together in one place. And that's exactly what it's talking about in Matthew 1 and 18. Let's read it again. It says, now the birth of Yahushua was on this wise. When as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, Joseph and Mary were engaged. They were still living in separate homes. It says, before they came together, meaning before they came together for the wedding ceremony, where everybody would come together and celebrate. Before that happened, it says, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. That's what it's saying. Now, why is the scripture letting us know that Mary was pregnant before Joseph and her had the actual wedding ceremony? Because that brings clarity to everything that happens in the next verses. The wedding ceremony was an important custom that we kept in Israel. During the ceremony, the engaged couple went into the wedding chamber and they consummated the marriage, meaning they had sex. There was also a big wedding feast. All this was done during the wedding ceremony.
There's playing off of word usage, which, yes, this phrase of coming together has been used in different ways. The problem is all those different ways has their own damn they. That's where this is in error. That clip that you just saw has caused a lot of, error in doctrine creation because I've seen countless people do the same thing.
Read that. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18. Correct. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise. When as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph before they came together.
So before they came together in a marriage chamber, they were supposed to do it the right way, but they did not do it the right way. Keep reading.
She was.
They'll go here, they go there, they go there. They will change the they to the community, everybody in the community. But as you read in verse 18, there's only two people that are mentioned to come together. This is the they here. The they in that verse, in that verse, in that verse, etc., are not the they here. If it's provided to us as it is written, why change it? The they came together. She was found with child of the Ruach HaKodesh. This she is Mary. I don't see the community. I don't see none of that stuff, but people are teaching it's the community coming together for a celebration, the this, that, whoop, whoop, whoop. It is not here. Now, the next part, there's so many things to really analyze in verse 18. This next part is the found with child of the Ruach HaKodesh. There's a Christian magical doctrine where God, directly impregnated Mary. This is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard of, okay? Depending on the context of it. I mean, God got all women pregnant because God is he owns the patent on pregnancy, essentially. He determines if you're going to be barren or if you're going to conceive. He's going to also determine if that child is going to have his spirit or the spirit of Satan. Let's get some understanding. We're going to do a top and bottom comparison. I'm going to put this verse 18 at the top. And I'm going to put Genesis 29 starting at verse 31 at the bottom. And it says, and when Yahweh saw that Leah, we just read about her, was hated, he, the Most High, opened her womb. Now, there's no magical conception doctrine when it comes to Leah. I wonder why. Let's read. But Rachel was barren, and Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, surely Yah has looked upon my affliction. Now, therefore, my man, her husband, will love me. So a top and bottom comparison, we have a man and a woman and conception, which the Most High has ordained essentially. There's no magical conception in either one of these. The Most High, quote unquote, opened up the womb, allowed conception for a woman to get pregnant by her husband. No different from Mary. Now we see the same thing again. Luke 1:40. And entered into the house of Zachariah, a man, and saluted, Elisheva or Elizabeth. And it came to pass that when, for those of you reading it out of the KJV, Elizabeth heard the salutation of Mary, the baby leaped in her womb. We see that? And Elizabeth was filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. But nobody's saying Elizabeth got pregnant by the Most High. You see, that's the contradiction in religion. This is a top and bottom comparison. You have to do this so that you don't have a lot of this just foolish, religious, magical impregnation doctrine. So now let's hone back in on verse 18. All of those things surrounded this verse because there's so many different he say, she say about this that you just simply don't read about. When you actually read it, you get to then home in on this. Let's move forward. We see that Mary was espoused to Joseph. Again, that's two people. Before they, the two people, came together, she, one of those two people, was found with child, that being of the Ruach HaKodesh. Again, that's not magic conception. It's just the spiritual nature of that child. So, boom. We're going to transition to the next part of this, the law of the betrothed found guiltless of adultery. Let's get into it. Leviticus 20:10. This is just the foundational standard. I know Christians hate using the law. It's done, blah, blah, blah. So, and the man that breaks wedlock with another man's woman commits adultery. Even he that breaks wedlock with his neighbor's woman, the adulterer and the adulteress, shall surely be put to death, laid to rest. This is the law. Okay? This is the standard, all right? Now, I'm showing you this because in verse 18 in Matthew chapter 1, before they came together, she was found with child. The standard, the law, would require Mary to be laid to rest. Let's look at verse 19 now. Then Joseph, her man, okay, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. Okay, so he was not willing to Leviticus chapter 20 her. I wonder why. But first, I want to focus in on something. Joseph, her man, is again the word aner. Okay, so here I just wanted to I wanted to bring you back to this. We went over this. It's the same word used here, which represents father, letting you know that it could be used either way. I just wanted to highlight that, okay? Because again, we're analyzing this. There's no breakdown. There's no doctrine. It's just analyzing, okay? But let's get back to our point. Now, that was verse 19. Let's see why he was not willing to make her a public example. We're just going in chronological order. Verse 18, 19, 20. But while he, who? Joseph, thought on these things, what is these things he's thinking about? Let's word bubble this. Mary was espoused to him, and before they, the only two damn people there, came together, she was found with child. This is what he thought about. It's telling you in chronological order. Verse 18, verse 19, verse 20. Okay? He's also thinking about the law in Leviticus 20 and 10. Man, my wife, my betrothed is pregnant, and I didn't do it because before we could come together, she's already pregnant. This is what he is thinking about. We don't get to change and twit because of doctrine. A lot of y'all will put the breakdown or the doctrine above what's literally written in the book. So let's get some understanding of this. And we have to use the law to measure things with. Deuteronomy 22 and 25. But if a man find a what? Betrothed damsel. Are we not literally talking about a betrothed damsel? Mary. She's betrothed to Joseph. This is what he's thinking about. In the field, and the man force her and lie with her. Then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel you shall do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slays him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. This is what a just man does. He measures occurrences using the law in order to basically be a just man. He could have been a savage operating from his emotions and be like, oh, to hell with her. But he acted like a just man and used his brain and the facts and the law to think. When would Mary be in the field? To then even be, have this, situation happen to her. This unfortunate situation. When would she be in the field? Let's find out. We're going to do a top and bottom comparison. Matthew 1:18 and Luke 1:40. So we've read both of these already today. The before they came together, found with child, okay? But this is the interesting part. Luke 1:41. And it came to pass that when Elizabeth heard the salutation of Mary, the baby leaped in her womb. This is the occurrence where Mary was in the field because she had to get to her cousin's house. Check this out, right above it. Verse 39, and Mary arose in those days and went into the hill country with haste into a city of Yehuda, and entered into the house of, then we pick up where we left off, Zechariah, and saluted Elizabeth. This is when, again, the unfortunate situation would have happened to her. Now we come back to Matthew 1:19. We see how and why Joseph was not willing to make her a public example.
I mean, keep explaining.
So when Mary came back from the hill country, right?
Give me that, Luke.
She,
you know what I'm talking about? Taxes.
When she came back from the hill country, he found, I can't say when or where or how, but we don't know exact time, right? But he was found to be pregnant through he knew that. That's why I say him being a just man, he was gonna put away pride.
We see how the whole thing came to pass. It basically came about. We hit verse 20. But while he thought on these things, behold, an angel of Yah appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, fear not to take unto you Mary, your woman, for that which is conceived in her is of the Ruach HaKodesh. Boom. Right there. He exercised wisdom and judgment the way a just man would do. We have to be extremely careful hearing things and regurgitating things. And the things that we're regurgitating that we heard are strictly just diabolically not even found in the book. We have to be cautious of this, okay? This completes the Matthew chapter 1 review. A lot of information was in this. Look it over. Leave a comment. I'm curious to see what you have to say. If it's from wisdom, I don't care about what you've heard. I know what you've heard. I don't care. You got something to add from a research perspective, by all means, drop a comment. So that's all I have for now, as it is written, and I'm out.